Electric Adventures here with my monthly update for November 2016. Not a lot of videos last month, as you all notice. I mean, I did do a couple, but the hard drive on my editing PC out here died. Didn't really lose anything of major importance, but never underestimate the time it takes you to get a new hard drive. I got an SSD this time, and then put everything back on the machine. Thus, we've a very busy month, just in normal day-to-day life. It sort of put me out of step. And also, in the meantime, I also rearranged the room. So you notice we're at a slightly different angle. I've actually moved my gaming setup from where it was over there, which is actually quite near the door, to right in front of me. Now this has two advantages. The main one being that the sun's no longer on the actual TV screen. I can sit this couch here, which is quite comfortable, coffee table in front of me, and sit here and play games. I can rest controllers on here, I can put controllers underneath the table. I will do a bit of a room tour when I tidy up a bit more. It also allows my wife to come in here and do her sewing when it's, instead of being cooped up in the house during the summer when it's a bit hot and everything, she can get a bit of fresh air. So I've put her set up near the entrance. You also may see a couple of bits and pieces of sewing behind me because she's in the middle of making a whole lot of costumes for various people at the moment. So she's always keeping herself very busy, which is good. Alright, I actually have quite a few other pickups this month, mainly because I haven't had a lot of time to make videos. I possibly would have made videos on these separately, but some of these, and I may do in the future, but I just I don't want to leave them any longer. Otherwise, they'll just build up on me too much. So the first item here, and this is one where I really would like to do a video on, and I sadly have not had a lot of time to play with it. Been after one of these for ages. I backed the original, I believe it was, I think it might have been an Indiegogo project, or was it? No, it was a Kickstarter project. The original Kickstarter project unfortunately didn't reach its target, but the guys went ahead and developed it anyway, and I was keeping an eye out, and ordered one, and it arrived, and it is an Amiga. Now it is a I mean, it's an emulation platform, but the main thing is it actually has a hardware disk controller. Comes with a disk drive, but it can actually read native Amiga disks, which is very important for the Amiga because of the custom format on there requires a special disk controller to actually be able to read the disks. And the emulation is very good. This model, as it's arrived, I need to update the flash. They've now support the AGA graphics chipset as well, so I need to upgrade that. It doesn't boot into a desktop by default, just boots into sort of like a high-level menu interface where you can go and select what you want to do to it. It has a Ethernet port. That's a little micro USB, little switch down there as well. We have a power plug there, and a HDMI, so it plugs directly into a HDMI TV. Got a couple of USB slots in the back, and a little SD card in there, which I have one in there, but I really haven't had a lot of chance to play with it. I am most certainly looking forward to using that. Okay, now the next thing, and these are in no particular order, this is just how I've written them down. Definitely another thing that I probably would have liked to have done a video, because it's actually my very first one of these that I've ever owned in my life. I've played some of them, but I've never owned one, and it's actually a mini stand-up Frogger. And it works perfectly. It's in really good condition, has its battery cover, and it's not that I'm going to play it much here, but it works really well. There's no way I'm going to get anywhere. Oh my god, I can't see what I'm doing. So not going to play it wrong around without looking. works really well, really nice bright display, no colour fading, all the stickers are in really good, and Frogger's a good fun game. As soon as I got this, my youngest leapt in and started playing it, and she really enjoyed it. And it's not an easy game either, and it has, like when you get through the second stage, you actually have the snake going along the middle, so it's not just the same game as you work your way through. And there's 2 skill levels. I haven't actually had a chance to try it on skill level 2. It's telling me to hurry up. But very, very pleased to get that. Turning off. Now, one thing I've forgotten to bring out. I actually got an Apple IIe disc controller card. So that's one more step further in getting my Apple IIe up and running. I mean, I've had it up and running, but you can't do much with it unless you have a disk interface. Now, I still do need to get an Apple II disk drive. I'm just keeping my eye out for all of them. Don't want to spend too much money, and obviously want one that I know has been tested and things like that. But got one of those. It wasn't very expensive at all, and it just gets me one further step along of getting that machine working. Next, got a very nice book this month. It's called Electric Dreams. It's all about the UK computer industry, as the title says, How 1980s Britain Learned to Love the Computer. It's by Tom Lean. It's actually quite well written. It does, as it progresses through the book, it does get a little repetitive on itself, even within the same section sometimes. So a lot of these books I find generally the first half is really good, and then they peter out as they go through. But it's definitely a worthwhile read, and I'm very happy to have it, and yeah, I enjoyed reading it, and I like having physical books like that. So the next item, and another one that really deserved its own video, comes in a lovely box like this. Even has a little quote on the back there. And it's a GPD XD, so I didn't expect it to come in such a nice, good, high quality set of packaging. I'm just showing you the packaging here because I was so impressed with it. I mean, it comes with an adapter that isn't suitable for my country. I can use another adapter to that, but it just uses a USB charger, so that doesn't really matter. And here is the unit here in all its glory. Lovely, well, nice and red. It's a 64 gig unit, probably bigger than I'll ever need. Okay, and it runs just like an Android tablet. Connect your charger. It's just about to it's down to 2%. I haven't actually used it for a few days. It's got quite a nice little interface. I really need to spend a bit more time and set up a few things. I've got a few emulators on there, like Frodo 64, NES-EMU. I've got to get rid of the stuff I don't want to use on. There's a bit of crap on there. There's an Amiga emulator on there as well. You can actually do Twitter and YouTube on it because it is a full Android tablet. I've got one for Genesis games and Game Boy Color, and I've got a Coleco one on there. They're not in very good order. There's some built-in emulators as well, but you can put any other Android emulators in there. I've got a 2600 emulator on there. Been playing a bit of River Raid. The controls are really comfortable. It's a nice weight, and most importantly, it folds snap shut, so I can carry it around and it's not going to get scratched. So really good getting that. Now the next thing I got, and this is actually something I forgot last month. It arrived right at the end of the month, and it is a F18 Upgrade kit, which you can use it in any machine that has a TI-99 182838 processor, like an MSX or a Coleco or a TI-99. I'm actually going to use it to upgrade one of my Colecos. I have a second one that doesn't work properly, and hopefully this will fix it. One thing I forgot about though is that the current video chip is not socketed, and I thought I had some 40-pin sockets, and I don't, so I've ordered those and can't do the kit until they arrive. Of course, being cheapskate, I ordered them from China, and they haven't arrived yet. It comes with very good instructions. As my phone goes off again. And It's got a lot of options in there, but the F18 Upgrade allows you to output to VGA, a huge step up in quality. It scales. You can also turn on options so that it can actually draw more sprites per line if you want to get rid of sprite flicker, or you can leave it in normal mode. And it will also display more colours as well. So it's an FPGA implementation of the video chip with a few enhancement modes added to it. And there are a few of them out there, so there is some call for Coleco games that actually support the extended capabilities of the chip. I've got to figure out whether you can detect whether one's installed, because obviously just releasing a game just for the chip means it's only a very limited number of users. But it's something interested in doing myself, plus I've got a Coleco I haven't been able to get to work. It just comes up with a yellow screen and that's all. And quite often, I do have a set of video RAM that I was going to swap out on that one, and a normal AV mod kit, but I'm going to try this first instead and see how I go. Now there is one more pickup. It only just arrived. This is a project by a very clever guy from Russia who loves his MSX machines, and it's called GR8 Net. And is actually a Ethernet networking card for the MSX that allows you to put it into your MSX and access the internet from your MSX, or access your MSX from a PC, so vice versa. It comes with a lot of software on it. Also, as part of the and to make the device usable, it has a mini text-based web browser, so it can actually download sites. It has RAM, so that you've got enough room to store web pages and everything like that. So it's a RAM extender as well. I think 512K of RAM as well, and it has a micro SD interface in it, so it can also act as a disk drive. So, and I do believe I'm not 100% sure whether they ended up putting an SCC chip in this. Maybe they did. PCM SCC, so it can actually load Konami ROMs that use the SCC sound chip. So this actually does a lot of the functions of the Mega Flash SD. Not quite the same, because that's not what it's targeted for. But in the end, to support all the other features, they ended up putting those things in. Now, it's not cheap by any standard, but it's really great for people who love their MSX machines. Okay, back again. Sorry for the cut phone call, as you would have seen or heard by the rings. Okay, I normally answer a question here. I had a bit of a look around. I haven't had a chance to watch all of the videos either, because of how busy I've been. But I haven't answered a video of Lawnboy Post 1975 for a while. This video is from a little way back, but are the best days of gaming behind us? And what he's talking about are the... And this will be very age dependent and everything like that. So younger gamers will be very much into the games that they're exposed to now. But for us people who've been in the games industry for such a long time, and been playing video games since the 80s in my case, or late 70s even. Want to go back far back. The modern day consoles don't, and the games that are coming out on them don't seem to have the same sort of appeal as some of the older games, which is perhaps why us mad people collect these older games. Now the older games aren't necessarily all just pick up and play as well. There are some fantastic RPGs and larger strategy games that have come in the past. And you only have to look at, like the PlayStation 2 and the PlayStation 1, there are games with lots of depth there. But what I find is a lot of modern games, all they're doing is repeating the same themes, but with prettier and prettier graphics. Now, I like fancy graphics as well, and I do like some modern games. I just find myself wanting to play them less and less. I really enjoyed playing The Last of Us, which I didn't play when it came out on the PS3. Didn't have a chance at the time. I'm glad I waited and played the PS4 version because it did have better graphics. That was a good game. That was a game worth playing, worth me putting my time into. From my point of view, of course. I've played all of the games in the Uncharted series except for the latest one. I didn't rush out and go and get it on release because I had a modern game backlog. mainly caused by my brother-in-law, who flies through games, selling me a whole heap of his games, and I keep on making that mistake at once. I really shouldn't get a whole heap of games at once, because I'm very much a serial player. I like playing a game, completing it, and moving on to the next one. So I generally don't have multiple games on a system that I'm playing at any one time. I do like to play things through to completion. I mean, I like the Wolfenstein game. That was alright, and that's, you know, a more generic first-person shooter. I've been playing a little bit of Fallout 4. But there's a whole lot of other games on the system that haven't interested me in the slightest. I did get No Man's Sky when it first came out, and did quite enjoy it to start with, but got bored. I haven't had a chance to play the game since the new update has come out, and I'm looking forward to doing that. But in general, I'm not excited about any of the games that are coming out for the modern systems. They've lost that particular shine. And I think that's, and even the newer versions of the consoles, they're still going to play the same games, just with higher upscale graphics, which once again is all well and good. But it's just prettier graphics. It's nothing to do with the actual gameplay and what they bring to the table. And these games, you know, they're not cheap. Buying modern games, that has a factor in it as well for me. And you can see people, they buy them and they just play them straight through, and a few days later they finish them. And that's why you get so many traded in game as well, because people working through games. Whereas back in the day, we used to get a game and it used to last us for a long time, like, you know, weeks or months if it was a large RPG or something like that. So, you know, things have changed, and now there are sparks of hope. Obviously there's a very good indie scene who are out there innovating, but generally the larger players are not innovating. They're just bringing out the same games all the time. And another spark of hope, I suppose, is the VR. Finally, something like PlayStation VR seems to have sparked a lot of people's interest in it and playing it. I haven't actually tried that myself, mainly because I don't think I could afford it. It's a lot of money to just put into one device. It actually costs more than a PlayStation 4 itself. And then you'd only get a couple of games, and then I wouldn't put enough time into them and play them. So I feel like at the moment, for me, it's a waste of money, but I can see how a lot of people out there are getting their money's worth out of it. So that's my response to that. Go and watch Longboy's Post video. He's a really good guy, asks some excellent questions. Usually every Wednesday he puts a new question of something up. And a great channel too. Almost exactly the same age as my channel as well, so a good mate. Now, a really quick homebrew update. I have done a little bit more work on Cavern Fighter for ColecoVision. Jazzed the graphics up a little bit, slimmed the main ship down, made the terrain a little smoother, added some more sprite animations, fixed a couple of bugs, introduced a new bug, which I haven't fixed it by the time I insert the extra video up here. You'll see the silly bug that I've introduced. I'll put it up there for amusement if I haven't fixed it. Really, now I just need to do some more work on the end of cavern bosses at each of the levels. Might put a scoring screen table on the start, and then it's sound and music, and it's ready to go. So it is getting close. Sydney Hunter for the NES. Hopefully I'll have the assets for that sometime this month, and I'll be able to start working on that. So that'll be an early next year one. Now, coming up on my channel, there will definitely be a Let's Make a Retro Game. That is unfortunately one of the things that I did lose video footage for, because I hadn't transferred, I had just recorded. It actually explains some of the stuttering and video sync issues I was getting on the machine as well. So obviously the hard drive was playing up. So Let's Make a Retro Game. There's another 2 episodes of that just about ready to go. I have to re-edit them and replace a bit of video footage. I'll be continuing to the A to Z of my Atari 8-bit collection. I'm glad people liked the start of that one. And I do have some more pickups. In general, I have recorded the box opening part. I haven't necessarily done the gameplays yet because I am very behind, and I've had a lot of time to get in here and actually record the footage, but I will. I hope everybody out there has been well and enjoying their games. I'm Electric Adventures. Thanks to all my subscribers. Thanks for watching, and I'll catch you next time.